All right, we are in the data as a practice module, and today I'm going to take you in the journey from data to decisions. Okay, fascinating. More often than not, we keep hearing about how data is extremely useful when you take insights out of it. And you keep seeing some fancy charts and data visualizations in magazines, articles, newspapers, and those are extremely helpful for you as a consumer of the insight to understand what has happened or what is going to happen. But is data as a practice only about deriving insights? What do you think? Okay, it's actually interesting, and I would like to know. So maybe pause the video, head over to the comment, and do let me know. What do you think? Because here I'm going to give you a lot more different kind of ideas of what data as a practice entirely is, right? There is a steep journey that we do, as I have already explained, which starts at the data and then ends at the knowledge, and then the knowledge helps us to make the decision. But how does that actually happen, right? What is the process in the real world, in the industry, right? Because in real world, we do not only derive insight from data per se, right? There is a lot of other processes that are involved, and that is what I'm gonna show you now. So let's look into that step by step. So here's a 4-step summary of what do we do in the entire data journey. Okay. Step number 1 is called the data collection step, or you can call it the problem framing step. This is where essentially we understand the business problem. Then we convert that into a data problem or an analytics problem or a machine learning problem. And then we start doing the research, a research of what kind of data are we going to study for this? What kind of data would help us to solve this specific problem? Okay. And then we start collecting the data. Depending on the environment, the kind of technology we have, what kind of data is it? Is it a human-produced data, or is it system-generated data? There are all those factors that are involved in this step. Once the data is collected, then we do some data validation, fact checks, and also we do some evaluation to see if the data that we have at hand, is it good enough? Is it of good quality? Is it of good shape for us to continue with the analytics process? Because data quality and shape is extremely important for successful analytics project. If the data is not good, if there are problems with the data, if there are flaws with the data, then you will not end up getting any useful insight out of the analytics. Sometimes the analytics may not even complete properly. So that's the kind of evaluation is done at this step, and it's extremely important. After that, once all the conditions is satisfied, we move over to the next step, which is the data transformation step. Now, this is ideally considered to be, in my experience, the most non-fancy or the boring kind of step, because this is where you are not teasing any insights out of it. You are not creating any visualizations. You are not doing any hypothesis testing. This is purely a backend work, but this is extremely important for us to proceed to doing all the cool stuff, to do all the fancy stuff. Okay, so what do we do here? Here we are basically going to transform the data to make sure it is analytics ready. More often than not, in the real world, the data that we collect is in the raw shape, in the raw format. And unfortunately, you cannot use that data as is to do analytics. You have to do some kind of cleaning, transformation, modeling, wrangling, and all those stuff, all the good stuff to make the data analytics rich, make the data analytics ready. All right, so that's basically what we do in the transformation process. Apart from that, we also build some data, places. There are different terms here like data warehouse or data lake or data universe. But simply put, these are all home for data. We create some dedicated digital platforms where we can keep the, cleaned and modeled and transformed data so that a data analyst or a data scientist or anybody for that matter, it can be any business professional also, can take that data from there and start doing some analysis, research, experiment, model building, algorithm training, whatever it is, they can do it from that place. All right. So that's all about the data transformation phase, which is the second step of the process. After that, we move to the third step, which is called the actual data analytics or model building phase. Okay. This is where all the fancy stuff is done. We do all sort of exploration with the data. We create all the reports, the dashboards, all the good looking dynamic real-time dashboards, right? I know this is the most popular aspect of all the data analytics aspirants out there. So yes, this is where you create the dashboards and you become a data rock star, right? You take all the praise. Hey, you know what? He created or she created great, a stellar dashboard. So yes, this is that phase. You do all sort of automation, and then you go further. You do all the statistical testing, the hypothesis testing, the A/B testing, all the experimentation. You build and train the machine learning models, algorithms. You perform all sort of predictive modeling and all that. Okay. So that's about the third phase. Finally, all the things that we do from step 1 till step 3 are intended. Their purpose is to do a successful step 4, and which is where a lot of projects fail. I personally have been part of a lot of projects during my earlier days that have been an absolute disaster. Trust me when I say that. Absolute failure, where we have done all the things, but we have failed to gain insights and provide useful knowledge to the business from which business could take some actions, right? So no analytics project is successful unless we are able to deliver actionable insights and knowledge for the business, right? And that's step 4. In step 4, we tease out all the information, all the pattern, all the findings, and then on the basis of that, we deliver recommendations to the business. We formulate strategies to the business. If we cannot do it, I know it's not always the job of a data professional to develop a strategy or to take an action out of it, but at least we should be in a position to influence or provide some recommendations from our end on what kind of decisions should be made. And those should not be based off of our intuition. It should rather be something that comes from the data as an insight, and then it should be combined with some of the business context that we have. Okay, so that's the fourth step, where we take out all the good things from the analytics that we do, all the insights, all the knowledge, and then try to build a use case around it so that business can take some decisions. Okay, so that's about the journey from data to decisions.